Hello, welcome back to the YarnNYarns YouTube channel. My name is Angela and all the places you can find me should be linked in the description box below this video. Here on the channel you'll find me chatting about my adventures in knitting, spinning, crochet and weaving, all of the fibre related things. Today's video is day 12 of my 12 Cast-ons Adventures 2025. I have reached the final day. It's always a bit bittersweet this day because I always have so much fun casting on my projects, but there's always so many more that I never quite manage to get to before my days run out. But yeah, I'm happy to be here this year. Because I've spread my cast-ons out throughout January, it feels like they've been going on for quite a while. So I'm glad to have reached number 12 now. If you're new to the channel, welcome. The 12 Cast-ons is a make-along that I host every year, whereby I cast on 12 projects to set myself up for my coming weeks, months, years worth of making. And then after I've cast on, I try and finish as many projects as I can. So each day that I cast on, I do a little daily vlog. And then once the cast-ons are finished and I go back to working on my projects, I make a project vlog for each of the things that I start during my 12 cast-ons. This video is not going to go up until February sometimes. The YarnNYarns community do join me in this make-along, but unfortunately it's too late to join in this time round, but it's never too early to start planning for next year if you fancy casting on along with me when December rolls around again, which it will do very quickly, I'm sure. It's Sunday the 26th of January as I'm recording this, and I'm going to be casting on a cardigan project today. This pattern is Baseline by Suzanne Summers, and it was very kindly gifted to me by one of our community members, Debbie, last year, and it's another one like yesterday's cast on, which I kind of hoped I might be able to squeeze in last year, but didn't quite have the planning time to gather the yarn and things that I needed for it. So I'm happy to be casting it on this year. And as it happens, I actually purchased some fibre. I'm going to be using some of my hand spun and some commercial yarn, and I purchased and spun up some fibre back in March. I purchased it and I think I spun through April and May, which is going to go into this project. So the two yarns that I'm going to be using are Scout by Kelborn Woolens, and I've got I think 4 skeins of this beautiful yarn. It's been in my stash for a long time. I remember purchasing this from Tribe Yarns in London, which no longer trade, well, Tribe Yarns is still in business, but they're no longer based in London. And this was pre-pandemic. I'd seen a lot about Kelborn Woolens on various podcasts at the time, and as soon as I saw it and squished it, I knew I had to have some for myself, but it's been sat in my stash waiting for the perfect project to come along, and I believe this might be it. For my contrast colour, I should probably put a picture of the project from the designer's pattern page up, shouldn't I? I'll do that now so you can see what I'm aiming for. So my contrast colour is going to be some hand spun yarn, and back in March I went to the East Anglia Yarn Festival and I bought some yarn or some fibre from the Threshing Barn. And I've just heard that the Threshing Barn is going to be closing down soon, which is quite sad because they produce some lovely fibres and some lovely spinning and weaving equipment. But folks' lives change and things change, don't they? So yeah. I bought 400 grams of neon, was the colourway, merino, and I spun up 2 giant hanks of this lovely hand spun. Purchased this fibre specifically with this project in mind. It's time to actually cast on. Well, I did a little sneaky swatch because I wasn't quite sure whether my yarns would go together. This ended up spinning up a touch finer than I was planning to spin it, so I wanted to swatch to make sure that these two would work for this project, and I did that a couple of weeks ago. One of the many fabulous things about this pattern is the cardigan has pockets, so I decided I could cast on a pocket and use it as a swatch. So that's exactly what I did. And I like how these look together, so I'm definitely going to go ahead. I was afraid that the dark colour would be more dominant, but I think all of the brights are actually slightly more dominant in this. What do you think? I'm happy to report I'm about on gauge for this. It's going to be a really interesting construction because the pattern is knit sideways, so rather than starting at the bottom and working up, you're starting sort of at the side and working across. It's going to be an interesting knit. On the day that I swatched this pocket, I was having so much fun that I decided to knit both pockets. So I guess I'm already cheating slightly and my project has started, but you know, swatching is part of the process, and if swatches happen to be pockets, then you know. Also, it's my knit along, I can break the rules if I want to. Not that there are many rules here, you know, we don't stand hard and fast by our rules. Other than knitting, I do have to make my way out into the miserable, windy, rainy weather because we forgot to we usually order our groceries online because both of us, myself and my partner James, we hate going grocery shopping. But last week we forgot to book a delivery slot. So usually on a Sunday we get our groceries delivered, but we've had to book a slot for tomorrow instead. So I need to go out and forage for some food for us today to get us through the day. So I've got that to do. I've edited and uploaded day 7 of our cast-ons this morning, and I want to try and edit day 8 today as well. And if I can get all of those things done and dusted this morning, I'm hoping maybe this afternoon might be a cosy afternoon of movie watching. We'll see. We've still got one more part of the Lord of the Rings trilogy that we haven't yet watched, so I'll see what James is in the mood for once he gets up and moving. It's a seriously miserable day here today. I'm really glad I'm mostly staying indoors. Well, I am staying indoors now. I am snuggled up under a blanket. I've put a cowl on. It's so cold. It's fine. I've got my knitting and nowhere to be. I'm already loving how much of this I've knit compared to the cast on that I did yesterday. I feel like in the hour or so that I've been knitting, I've already knit as many inches as I did in the whole of my knitting yesterday. It's the joy of working with a thicker weight yarn. I'm working on the front right panel. I haven't read ahead in the pattern, but if I've got a handle on this, what I'm going to be doing is knitting this front part, and then I'm going to be knitting a corresponding bit for the back, and then I assume once I've done this, I'll then join the two pieces together. So this is going to be sort of featuring some neck increases. Gets to a certain point, then I do the same for the back, and then I guess I'll be knitting across whatever's left once I've joined the two pieces, so the rows will get extremely long at some point. My goal for the day, I think, is to knit the front piece, the back piece, and get them joined, hopefully. I think that's doable. There's not actually that many more rows left before I've finished this first front piece. There's several different options in this pattern for the styles in which you can make it, including the type of neckband that you want. So there's versions for a crew neck, a round neck and a V-neck. And I've decided to do a crew neck version, so it should have a relatively high neckline. The handspun yarn, as I'm knitting at the moment, is mostly coming across with the blues and the pinks, so I get really excited when I come across a little pop of yellow. It's my favourite bits to look out for at the moment. That may change as we go through the yarn, but yeah, I think at the minute it's sort of predominantly blue and pink. There's definitely plenty of yellow patches in here, so yeah, it gives me an extra smile when I get to a bit in the yarn where some yellow is featured. James is just finishing up a couple of house chores, and then we are going to settle in and watch the final part in the Lord of the Rings movie trilogy, so I should have loads of knitting time ahead of me today. It's a really nice, cosy way to spend my last day of cast-ons. Time for the last check-in on the last vlog of 12 Cast-ons 2025. So I do have a few community cast-ons to share with you. I think I'm almost caught up. I think there's one more video that I need to catch up on the comments for, but I am planning on doing a little bit of a wrap-up video, which will also include the prize draw for the cast-on part of our make-along. So I will spend some time in the next week or so making sure that I catch up on all of the comments, so that I do try and scoop everyone up and mention everyone. If I happen to have missed any comments, then I do apologise. It's not intentional. There's just been a lot of cast-ons this year and I've done my best to keep up, but the last couple of weeks it's been a little bit of a struggle. I'm way behind on replying to all of your comments, so please do bear with me. Arwen cast on a Hoodler hood. Sal has finished all 12 of her cast-ons, including socks, cardigans, neck warmers, sweater. She's done a mosaic vest, a gnome, which she's also finished, the cloud bloom shawl, winter love shawl, love note, 3-colour cowl, the aeolian tee, and a muscle bra. And I know that Sal has also finished that muscle bra since she commented on the video, because I've seen that on Instagram. Wendy's finished all 12 of her cast-ons and she's made socks, shawls, jumpers, 4 tops and 5 cardigans. Jackie has also done 12 cast-ons, 2 blankets, a Sophie scarf, a shawl, a cowl, some fingerless mitts, a muscle bra, some scrunchies and 4 pairs of socks, and one of those is finished. Lee has finished 12 projects and the last few cast-ons were the West Coast mitts, the Yakima ear warmers, hand towel and the northeasterly. Nina has also finished 12 projects, and since the last comment that she made, she's cast on a light academia, the brightest tee, the lemon bar Felici socks, a shawl cardigan, a scrap witchery blanket, a lakefront sweater and a feels right tee. Rita said that she has joined in, although she's not officially joining in, she said, because she's not putting herself forward for any of the prize draws or anything, but that's absolutely fine. You're still officially in as far as I'm concerned. But Rita has started socks, sweaters and scarves. And then finally, Jane has been working on a granny square blanket, which she has made from leftover yarns from previous baby blankets that she's made. So there we go, another year of cast-ons done. So that just leaves me to share with you my progress on my final project, and then we can get this little series wrapped up. Okay, this is going to be a little bit tricky to share with you without losing stitches off the needles, but here is my progress on the baseline so far, and it's such a fun construction. So if I move that out of the way, as you can see, I'm working, let me try and angle the camera down a little bit so you can perhaps see a little bit better. I'm working from the front across, and I've done that first bit, as you might remember, I'm doing the crew neck, so it's got a really high neck on it, and I have worked the neck increases, and you work down the same part of the back. And now I'm working these really long rows, whereby I'm now working the front and the back together, and I shall work out across the sweater. Loving the bright pops of neon against the really dark grey, almost black of that Kelbourne Woolens yarn. I think it's going to be such a fun project, both to knit and to wear once it's finished. The colours are looking really bright on the camera as well. It's actually a much brighter day today. There's still no sunshine, but it's a much brighter day than we've had in the last several weeks. So yeah, it's quite a nice one to share all of the fabulous colours in that neon fibre. I don't think there's anything else to say for that project, except it was a lovely way to finish my cast-ons this year. Once again, thank you so much to everyone who has watched the videos, who has been casting on, who has been leaving comments, sharing what you've been casting on. Lots of folks have been cheering us on from the sidelines if they've been working on their works in progress and not joining in the cast-ons. There's just been so much community participation and enthusiasm. So I just can't thank you enough for making my January and part of February just so much more enjoyable than it otherwise would have been. I would love to know what you've been working on recently. Please leave your comments below. Have you been able to wean off of the cast on itch, or are you still casting on? There's a few people who have commented to say they can't seem to stop casting on. Which is fine, you know, the more projects the better if you ask me, but that's just the chaos in which I like to work. I know we're not all the same. As I mentioned briefly earlier, I think I'll do one more little video where I will just wrap things up, maybe chat about how I'm going to work on my projects going forward, and do a little prize draw. So for everyone who has shared a picture either on the Ravelry group or on Instagram or has sent me an email, everyone will go into the pot and I'll draw a few prizes. So I will try and get that video recorded, edited and uploaded in the next week or two, and then it will be back to more regular content. 12 cast-ons making vlogs, I'll do my monthly making plans, and then just wrap-ups and stuff like that, and anything else that I feel like hopping on the camera to share with you. It's always a bit of mix and match here on the channel. I hope you will join me for the next video, but until we do get to spend time together again, I hope you get to do some of the things that you enjoy. Great big woolly hugs to you all. Bye for now. Bye.